that kind of pressure was either the STC or the O-ring.
Hey guys, Ed over here at FICM Repair. So, happy Sunday to you. I appreciate the content of this video, I do. Basically, it's a conversation about not just throwing the parts cannon at things and going ahead and fixing what's actually broken. What the video's saying is that, hey, look, if you're developing, 350, 400 PSI, there's a solid chance that your issue is that STC fitting. Couldn't agree more. There's also a chance, albeit less common, that the issue is with the standpipe. But again, you just don't know, right? What we know, though, is that the conversation is deeper than just this. It's a conversation primarily about how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go and how many times do you want to go down there, especially if you're paying somebody else, but also just the value of your time conversation. So dated knowledge would say, hey, this style pump never fails. Well, having been left on the side of the road with a pump like this failing, now it wasn't RCDs, to be clear, it was an OEM pump, but that pump died at about 220-ish thousand miles. And I had to put the STC fitting up in there about 40, 50,000 miles prior, thinking I was doing something. I can tell you, for the consternation that caused me when it did fail, not that it was the end of the world, obviously I still got a pulse, right? But I would have absolutely loved it if back then I knew that, no, these pumps actually do fail, and if you're going to do an STC fitting and you got in the 170,000-ish miles rating or more on that pump, man, if you got two nickels to rub together, think seriously about not doing the STC fitting. The snap to connect, don't you know that it migrates to a branch tube adapter, but instead take a serious gander at the possibility of going ahead and instead running with the full pump. Now, if money is tight and you just need to know what the problem is, go ahead and spin out the IPR valve and do an air test on it and listen for leaks, and that'll tell you what's going on. And if you don't have any leaks, well, ding, 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 it's the pump. But regardless, I would say that the world is getting more complicated now, because now we're kind of thinking, what do we want to do? Things that make you go, and knowing that there really aren't that many alternatives here, right? We talk about reliability, and his video did indeed talk about that and saying, hey, there's only so many pieces of this puzzle, right? There's, of course, the high-pressure oil pump. There's, of course, the IPR valve. If it's an earlier build truck, it's potentially a J-tube thing on the H-pop. If it's an earlier build truck, just standpipes. If it's a later build truck, standpipes and dummy plugs. And then, of course, HHCs, nipple cups, and their corresponding O-rings. And in a very, very, very unusual percentage of the time, very low percentage of the time, it's the actual O-rings on top of the injector. So then you just got to ask yourself, how many problems do you want to have in life, and what's uptime and downtime worth to you? So if uptime and downtime is worth a ton to you, so if uptime is worth a ton to you and downtime hurts, maybe you do just want to go in there and change everything out. But if you don't have two nickels to rub together and you want to just look at your pressure readings and say, hey, look, I got 350, 400 pounds of pressure that is building, what's my problem? Yeah, it probably just is the pump. Or if you only got 100 or so, yeah, it probably is a standpipe or dummy plug, right? And so these are the conversations with a whole lot of no right answers. But, if you've got the time to get in there and pull the valve covers and do the H-pop, too, I would say that if you do that, you're going to be better off. And that way you're in with a more reliable truck, and the 6.0 will stop having a bad name to you as far as you're concerned, right? So these are unbelievably reliable trucks. They really are. But you got to know some stuff, and it's just not fair to expect. I see the comments now, reliable 6.0, no way, right? Well, come on, man. You got 20 years out of those standpipes. What do you possibly want out of them, right? And so I was talking to a guy the other day. He's got 15 or 14,000 miles on his original 6.0. He just bought it. Well, the good news is it's got no miles. The bad news is it's got no miles. And so what does that mean? It means he's going to be changing all the rubber everythings. So these are O-rings. What do you want out of them, actually? How far do you want to push it where all of a sudden you're on the family vacay and this truck just leaves you and just ruins what could otherwise be a wonderful experience for you and your family, right? So think about what path you want to go. We do have very specific ideas on who makes the best mousetrap for this, that, and the other, and you can choose to run with that or not. But we'll support you anything you need. So holler at us, let us know if we can help, and off to the races we go. FICMRepair.com. We're all in this together. Thanks, guys.